So for that, let me check. I'll show you first of all how we can do a DB copy. Database. So we'll do one thing. We'll take a backup of this SR1 database. Which is on SPS 12. I'll install one more dev database here. See, it may be on same system or a different system, doesn't matter. Okay, let that go on. So before taking a backup of this, the source database, it's just a blank database only, but just for testing purpose, what I'm doing is so one test schema I'm creating like this. Just to know, I mean, whether this copy is done properly or not. Okay, now this you consider as a source database. Take a backup of this, complete data backup. Here, one additional service I have enabled. Some specific reasons. So TP server. The target also should have this. So that backup is finished. Now that we'll try to recover on this new database which I'm installing. Let us consider that as a target database. Maybe I'm just for showing you that example, I'm installing on the same host. You take it on a different host. In case if it's on a different host, what you have to do is, whatever these backup files you have, you need to copy them there. Otherwise, have the accessibility to these backup files there. Okay, so this database is almost ready. But as I told you, there is one additional service in that source database, which, let us say, I'm enabling it. See, now I'm going to use the backup of SR1 database to do a recovery on SR2. So to do that, making sure that those the source database backup files are available. Go to backup recovery. Click on recover system. So it must be offline. So I'm stopping it. Just preparing the recovery wizard. So now when we want to do a DB refresh, choose this option. That is recover the database to a specific data backup or storage snapshot. Click on next. Now you have to go with this. This is recover using backup catalog is if it's same database backup you are using. Then it will search for the backup in the catalog, but as is a different database backup we are going to use. Obviously in that case, you need to go with this option recover without the backup catalog. Because backup of SR1 database is not available in the backup catalog of SR2. So in case if you have a backend used in that case, you have to use that system, backend system copy. Click on next. So this a DB copy or a DB refresh you can do with options like file, backend, and snapshot. All three options are there. So here I'm going with that file. We have backup files here. The same path I'm giving. And what are the path prefix you have? So that, I mean, the backup prefix you have, you specify that. So we are using that SR1 backup. Next, this is the default options, and installing new license key is definitely required in the company. So either you can specify the license key now, otherwise after the installation is completed, I mean after the recovery is completed, there also you can give the license key. So select it, click on next and finish. Just a minute. So once that recovery is completed, it's restarting the database. So that's completed. Now this SR2 is a copy of SR1. See this schema. So this is how you do a DB refresh, taking a backup of one database and doing a refresh on a different database like that. And one most important thing what you need to remember is this information already given in this. Here you don't need to do anything with SIDs and all that. See, SID and hostname are adapted during the recovery process. And as already we have seen that target database is started at the end of the recovery. So we used backup files here. Instead of that, you can also use snapshot files. In case if you have a snapshot of one database, like your entire data volume snapshot you've taken, and then you want to use it for recovery, that also you can do it. Of same database or different database, process is same. So like see this SR2. So I'm just stopping this. So once the database is shut down, and maybe the same database or different databases, I told you. And then just let us refresh this. So you have data volume of that database. That is that SR2 database. This MNT001. And that should be replaced by the snapshot of that other database or maybe same database. I mean, it depends. As I told you, the snapshot of same database you're using for that database recovery, that's one option. Maybe a different database recovery. If you do it for a different database, basically you're doing a DB copy there. So what you do here, simply whatever snapshot you have taken here, MNT001, you need to copy here and replace all these files, existing files. Just replace, or otherwise here I'm just deleting and copying this the other database MNT001. But don't forget that's a snapshot copy we have there. So this file copying, so that will take a little bit of time depending on the size of the data you have there. So once that is done, we can start doing recovery. So try to understand the difference between a recovery by using normal regular backups and snapshots. If you want to use backup for recovery, you have some backup files in that location. So at the time of recovery, system will go there and check whether the files are available. Files are available, that will start doing the recovery. But when we want to use a snapshot for recovery, first we need to copy the snapshot to the data volume location. So then only you can proceed with this recovery process. Otherwise, look at this, what happens. This database actually is having some snapshots. If you see the backup catalog, there are some snapshots available. But if those snapshot files are not copied, if I start doing recovery here, so you choose any of these options. Suppose recover the database to most recent state or this one. If it's the same database, you need to use using the backup catalog. See here that snapshot, wherever is showing snapshot will show you cross mark directly because now it's verifying already whether those snapshot files are copied to the data volume location or not. If they copied, then it will show you the green dot here so that you can continue with that recovery. That's the concept there. So that's why when we want to use snapshot for recovery, whatever the snapshot you have taken earlier, copy those files to data volume location of the same database. If that's the same database recovery you want to do or a different database, we want to go with the DB copy. It's as simple as that. Just 3 more minutes to copy that. Let that copy finish, you'll start recovery. I'll just show you whether that option comes or not. You just same example which I shown you just now. Instead of file there, you'll be using snapshot. That's the only small difference. So once these files are copied, so make sure that you have those permissions given because this is copied from outside. That's completed. I just so then this is the database. Go for recovery. Because that's a snapshot of a different database, so I'm going with this without backup catalog. So here you need to change the destination type to snapshot. This is a corrupted one. Okay, so if files you have properly, that recovery will be completed. Shouldn't be a problem at all. So those are the recovery options you have, and apart from this, what SAP has done is in the new versions, that is when you are working with Cockpit 2.0, which I shown you earlier, and your database is 2.0. So there you have an option to do the recovery. From here also we can do it. But we don't have all the options there. Only the first two options are given. So that's why still it's better to use HANA Studio at this point of time. Example, this is 2.0. So if we just come down here, there is a recovery option. But as you know, that's an offline admin activity. The recovery compulsory need to provide control credentials there for this database. What database is that? Just wait a minute. I'll just add this SR1 database and I'll show you. See, go into Cockpit Manager Resources. See, this SR1 database, I'm giving all the credentials required. Control credentials also I'm giving. Select the database. Database version must be minimum 2.0, then only it will support. What is this database version? That's SPS 12. So if it's 2.0, you will get that option there. So that will allow you to choose those options. Only first two options will be there. One is recover the database to its most recent state, and second one is point in time. Only those two things. Otherwise, it will throw you error like this, because that version is not supported. It's actually 2.0. See these two options as I told you. Same process. Recover database to its most recent state. Recover the database to a point in time. Same options will be there for you. But I mean, we have one more additional thing there. Recover the database to a specific data backup or store a snapshot that's not supported here. So that's the difference you remember. And sometimes this point also you remember. They may ask you. I mean, we won't use it, but they may ask in interviews. Say you're working on the server, the Linux machine. You don't have Studio there, but still you need to perform a recovery. Cockpit is one option, but yesterday also I shown you whenever you're doing that recovery, the last screen you have that SQL. I shown you that copy SQL option is there. If you know that SQL statement, you can write that SQL statement. But where to write that? When your database is not running, you cannot execute it. That's when what you can do is you can use some Python script to run those SQL statements in the Linux machine. You can take help of your system administrators, Linux administrators, and they'll show you how to run this Python script. There is something called recovery.sys.py, and it can be used to which you can pass that SQL statement which I shown you, and that can be recovery can be performed using that. That's just an option. Worst case scenarios. So these are the different things we have in the recovery process.